to my channel, Postcards from My Golden Years. I'm Anne. It's so nice to see you today. It's good to dream. In all of the rest of my years, I used to believe that I made every one of my dreams come true. I fulfilled everything on my bucket list. I ran out of things. I had to start new dreams. But in the background, my dream to move to France was always there in the back of my mind. I just had to find the right person, I guess, who would want to share that. Living in France has always been a dream of mine. I studied French in school for 8 years in junior high school and high school, and then another couple of years in college, thinking that I would go into work with the United Nations. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. I took a different path. But I speak French fairly well. I love France. I've traveled to France many, many times. Paris is my favorite city in the world. And when I go to Paris, I feel like I'm home. I get this warm feeling inside that when I'm not there, it calls me. My husband, Jeff, and I, we have this wonderful dream when he retires in a few years that we are going to move to France, hopefully somewhere in the south of France. If we could move today, I'd be thrilled, but fortunately, I have a very ambitious husband who loves his job. He loves his work. He's a very talented architect, and I can't begrudge him that. After all, he's going along with my big dream. So I'm going to let him finish his big dream.
Fabulous idea. But I really like my job now, so we should probably do that in about 3 years when I'm really ready to retire and stop work. And that'll give us a chance to save up enough money to head off to France.
France, hopefully somewhere in the south of France, near a train station, so that we can get on that train and go sip wine at a cafe in Paris anytime we'd like in just a 2-hour train ride. I wish we could do it today, but it takes time to be able to save up, and there is so much preparation just to get ready to totally relocate your entire life to another country across the Atlantic Ocean. There's so many things to think about, and to some it may be overwhelming. We have at least 3 years before we're going to make our move, but now I'm starting to look around the house and think about what things we're going to take with us, what things we're going to have to sell. For the most part, we're going to have to sell most everything we have in this house, except for our clothes, shoes. It's going to take at least the next 3 years for us to save up enough money to go to France. We want to have enough money saved up so that we will have a comfortable life. We'll have a limited income, obviously, living on our Social Security. But we want to have a good start when we get there. And it's going to take us a few years to put enough money aside so that we will be able to enjoy our life without struggling. It's great to have a wonderful plan like ours, to move to France and spend our life enjoying the French countryside and the Mediterranean and travel around Europe, maybe even Dubai. The main reason that I created this channel is because of our plans to move to France. I wanted it to become a channel that chronicled, that recorded all of the steps that we took, from making the decision to uproot our life and move across the ocean, to packing the boxes, to getting rid of the things we don't need, to figuring out how to reduce 100 and some pairs of shoes down to 10, if that, to figuring out what paperwork we need, what health insurance we need, how to open a bank account, how to get that long-term visa here in the state of Florida. I know it's in Miami, I know that now. There are an awful lot of things we have to do before we get to the point that we're ready to take little Morgan and get on that plane and say goodbye to the U.S. for the rest of our lives. I like to think that when my husband Jeff and I move to France, we will be starting a wonderful last chapter of our lives. And who knows, maybe we'll make a few chapters out of it. But I certainly don't want to go into that next chapter with a load of stuff that really isn't necessary, that we won't need to live a happy rest of our lives in France or in our travels around Europe and anywhere else we may go. I mean, do I really need all of the candlesticks? Do I really need to bring all of my candles to France? Probably not. I've gone through 2 divorces, and in the first divorce, for the most part, I took all of my clothes, all of my shoes, half of the wedding presents, and I left all of the furniture and everything else. Oh, I'm sorry, I took 2 pieces of furniture, and I left my ex-husband with everything else. I pretty much moved with a fairly light load, although my second husband probably wouldn't say that, considering the fact that we didn't have any closets big enough for even half of my clothes. And when I left the second husband, I left with a lot more stuff. Half of the furniture, all of the clothes, all of the shoes and purses, a lot of the kitchen things, half of all the crystal, half of all the wedding presents again. I had so much stuff. And I think I moved 6 or 7 times since that last divorce, including 3 times, no, including twice with this husband. And together we've accumulated a lot of stuff. Each time I moved, I had an opportunity to thin out the load. I should have approached the second divorce the way I did the first. Just take the most important things that you can't live without. And in that case, it was my clothes and shoes and 6 crystal goblets and a few bowls, literally. So this isn't the time to keep the crystal glasses in the china closet. This isn't the time to not use the dishes that I'm saving for that special company the time is now. Because if I don't use a lot of these things now, in a few years, I'm going to have to get rid of them for our big move across the ocean. And it's probably a good thing, because when we get over to France, we'll either have a house or a flat someplace, and we're really not going to need all of the things that we have in the cabinets now. We're not going to need all of the clothes we have in all of our drawers and all of our closets once we get there. So I hesitate to say that we're going to become minimalists, but I think we're going to have to reduce our life to just those precious things that we want to take into our new life across the ocean. So the other day I took a walk around and I just looked at all the little things in my life, in our house actually. I looked around at all of the things in our house that I would want to pack with me in a little box, or maybe a little bit bigger box. Jeff bought this beautiful set of French china for me a couple of years ago for Christmas. And I've always wanted some French china. This is Limoges. So this is definitely coming with us. And if it has something to do with France or Paris, for sure, I want to have it. This is just a cute little candle that I picked up. I don't even remember where I picked it up. But I like looking at it, and soon I'm going to be out of candle. And then I guess I'm going to use that little cup for something else. This little couple was on the top of my mom and dad's wedding cake. And she had it in her china closet. For all the years she had a china closet before she went into a nursing home. And by the time I had to move her into a nursing home, she was suffering from Alzheimer's. So she really didn't know much about what stuff she was leaving behind. She had saved this for some reason. And so I brought it home with me to save. And it's another one of those little treasures that will always be with me. When Jeff and I got married and went on our honeymoon, we went to Napa Valley, and we went to a restaurant there called the French Laundry, which is supposed to be one of the finest restaurants in the world. The French Laundry put these little clothespins at each of our places at the table. I think they put a little special menu tucked into each clothespin. And of course, they let us take the clothespins home. So it's another one of those little treasures. Actually, in a sense, it didn't cost us anything for the clothespins. It cost us a lot for the lunch that we had there, a whole lot. So I guess in a sense you could say we paid for the clothespins. But they're just another little treasure that I love having. These are also kind of whimsical. They're all Twizzlers for drinks. I tend to drink wine most of the time, so I don't use them. But I really like having them, particularly the glass ones. I'm fascinated by them. And so whenever I see them in my travels, I will pick them up and add them to my collection. And then I keep them in this little crystal ice, I guess you'd call it a little ice bucket, crystal ice bucket. So these are my glass Twizzlers. Sometimes I think maybe I'll start drinking cocktails. Sometimes I think maybe I'll start drinking cocktails just so that I can use these. I think they're so pretty. Just another little treasure. It didn't cost a lot, and it made me smile. Adding to, I guess, my sparkly theme, I happen to have been in our local Z Gallery store where they must specialize in sparkly things, and they always attract my attention. So this was on sale. I think it was $9.99. And you know, it just had to come home with me as another one of those special little treasures. Here's an interesting candlestick that I picked up at our nearby thrift store. It's really quite heavy. It feels like cast iron. So I haven't put a candle in it yet or decided what I'm going to do with it, but it has a nice fleur-de-lis, and I'm all about French things. So for sure, I'll find a place. If not here, someday when we move to France, it'll be part of our decor. So in the meantime, I'm doing these other videos, just talking about aging and day-to-day issues and things to think about in our lives. For me, ultimately, thinking about our future and our future move is a part of my day-to-day thinking and reasoning and dreaming. So if you enjoyed this video, how about a nice thumbs up? When you subscribe to my channel and you give me that thumbs up, you help me grow my channel here on YouTube. And it would be nice to have that kind of presence and that many subscribers. I'm on my way to 4,000 subscribers. I've got a long way to go. You can help me. So please, tune in again for my next video. And until then, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful life. And don't forget to smell the roses. Bye now.